Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host, Mohammed Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, Philippe Rosinski. Philip is a best-selling author, executive coach, keynote speaker, and a global leadership developer. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Philip Rosinski. Philip, welcome.
Thank you, Siddique. My pleasure.
Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
So maybe I should say that I'm an executive coach, as you have mentioned already, and I work with leaders, with executives, with teams. I started out as an engineer. In fact, I studied in Belgium and then went to Stanford University to get a master's in engineering. My first job was in the Silicon Valley as an engineer. I worked there for a little while, came back to Europe, worked as an engineer, and then as a manager. And something that struck me is that oftentimes the human potential is underutilized. And I noticed that around me, heard many people coming to that same conclusion. And I was wondering, what would it take to make a better use of human potential in the interest of people themselves, of organizations, and of society overall? And that was the beginning of the journey that led me to change my career completely. I went and engaged in a personal developmental journey, learned a lot, and eventually started to work as a leadership development trainer, consultant, and coach without knowing at the time that what I was doing was actually coaching. And that was 30 years ago.
Based on your experience, what are the top three reasons why do people fail?
I guess related to what we have just briefly talked about, Siddique, is one reason is people sometimes do things that are not really meaningful to them, that are not really connected to their authentic desires. They do things simply out of obligation, but there is no joy, no meaning in what people do. Consequently, it's difficult to succeed. Another reason may be paradoxically to be overly attached to success. I want to succeed so badly that it's difficult for me to fail and to accept that some failures are going to be inevitable. So one way to avoid doing this is to accept that failure will be part of the journey, to be willing to take some risk. That's how you gain resilience. It involves becoming patient and having more trust in what will happen. And I guess a third reason is the lack of support. We need friends, we need colleagues, we need people who help us. It's difficult to succeed on our own. And so having that network, or not having that network, I should say, would be a reason for failure.
What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
My greatest failure story perhaps was, as I said already, after having on all these studies and working as an engineer, I found myself in a place where I was wondering, what am I doing? I was back in Belgium and I was wondering, what am I doing here? I mean, the work seemed interesting for some people around me, but I didn't see the meaning, I didn't see the purpose. And I was seeing around me some people were really excited, joyful in their work. So at some level, it was a failure that I had not been able to find my way. But what I learned from that is the importance of finding something that is right for you so you can have a more fulfilling life and you can also bring a better contribution to others. And that's what I set out to do. That was over 30 years ago.
So, based on your
But
experience, what are your top three success secrets that others can model from?
yeah, I have to say that those are not secrets at all, but maybe the top three recipes, if I may say. One is to look at reality from multiple perspectives, to be considering alternative cultural viewpoints, to think in terms of and rather than or, to foster inclusion and unity in diversity rather than exclusion. That involves being open and being curious. That would be the first one. The second one, and I don't say these in any particular order, but the second one is the realization that it's all connected. So therefore, we need to appreciate the broader implications of everything we do. And this involves caring for others, caring for the planets, and realizing that we are not talking only about our success, my success, your success, but we are in this together. It's not just individual success, it's our collective success. We are in this world together. How can we, in other words, succeed by really caring for others and letting that inspire what we do? And number three would be to resolutely turn towards the light. And what I mean by that is to appreciate what we often take for granted, to appreciate the miracles of the day. So yes, we may be frustrated that we are not making that much money, that we have not achieved this or that, but how much do we appreciate what we have already? So we can be happy by appreciating what we have already, assuming we have something minimal, of course. If I'm really in a bad situation, I do need some money. But at some point, I'm not going to be any happier by making more and more and more money, by consuming more and more and more stuff, by buying more and more stuff. So appreciating what we have would be a top three success secret for me.
What motivates you within?
What motivates me within is the desire to learn, the desire to create, and the desire to make a positive contribution, to make a positive difference for others. When I'm able to do that, to help others thrive in their lives, use more of their potential, that really motivates me. And that's why I've become a coach, actually.
What is your company's motto?
Well, it's precisely my company, Rosinski and Company, it's precisely about helping to unleash the human potential in the service of multiple stakeholders and of society at large, to help people, to help teams, to help organizations thrive, achieve high performance together with high fulfillment. That's what the motto would be.
Who is your ideal client?
My ideal client would be a client who shares some of the values I've already spoken about. In other words, a client who believes that human people have great potential. And if we talk about an organizational client, that would be an organization which really wants to tap into the richness, the talents that people have, and an organization that really strives to help people deploy their talents, and an organization that strives to help people deploy their talents towards meaningful ends, to do something, to have a positive contribution. So that would be my ideal client. Also a client, if I talk about an individual person, this would mean somebody, if I'm talking about a coachee, who's ready to embark on a personal development journey, which implies a degree of humility, of openness, and curiosity.
How do you find your ideal client?
How do I find my ideal clients? I'm fortunate enough that they find me. And so I'm not really looking for clients. They find me. And the way they find me is typically, through the books I've written. I speak at conferences. I speak at webinars. And also I deliver a number of seminars. And also word of mouth. That's how they typically find me.
How do you engage your ideal client?
To engage the ideal client is to consider the client not just as a business relation, but as a human relationship. Engage with my client by really striving to establish that genuine human connection with my client. And that goes beyond just a transactional business relations.
What are your well-defined products or services?
Well, executive coaching is one of the service. Another service is team coaching, in particular with senior and top teams. And a third area, I would say, is leadership development in general, which involves consulting, training, as well as coaching. And also organizational development is another area. And this could take the form of doing some cultural audits. I've developed a tool called the Cultural Orientation Framework, which can serve for that purpose. And then finally, I mean, there are other services, but one that is very important is open seminars. And one seminar in particular is kind of our flagship program, is the Leading and Coaching and Cross-Culture program, which I've had the chance to co-deliver with partners around the world. It's also a certification seminar for the tool I mentioned, the Cultural Orientation Framework. And lately, I have now a new global coaching masterclass available as in the form of videos online.
Why someone should buy from you?
Well, I don't want to sound pretentious here, but people consider me the pioneer of intercultural and global coaching. The book I've written, Coaching Across Culture, was the first book to link coaching and interculturalism. And it's about leveraging cultural diversity, making the most of cultural diversity in the broader sense. So one of the reasons is because I'm someone who tries to push the envelope, to find new avenues to help unleash our human multifaceted potential. So that's one reason. And another reason is because I really care. And I also have a track record. When I've coached executives and teams, I have a number of success stories over the past 30 years of having had a considerable impact. Of course, my clients deserve most of the credits for this because I'm a facilitator. They do the hard work. But still, they recognize that I've been able to bring a substantial contribution. So for all these reasons, I think this pioneering role, the fact that this program I just mentioned is still one of a kind, and the fact that I'm getting some results, I'm able to help clients make a difference, I think those should be hopefully good reasons to work with me.
How do you crush your competition?
I don't crush my competition. I don't crush them. And I have to say, I don't even see people, you could argue, are my competitors. I don't even see them as competitors. I see them more as colleagues, as fellow coaches, fellow trainers, fellow consultants. And in fact, so much so that I often end up collaborating with people you could argue are my competitors. I'm very much into cooperations. My company is very small, so the way I work is through collaboration. And so I think there are a lot of very competent executive coaches, for example. I cannot claim to be, I believe I'm also competent, but I'm certainly not the only one. And so I also believe I can learn from others, and I look forward to continuing learning from others and cooperating with others. I think there is also room for many people. There is so much potential to be unleashed, so much work to be done that there's room for many professionals.
How do you deliver a 5-star client experience?
A 5-star client experience is by not taking anything for granted. I do have a great deal of experience, but I continue to learn and to grow. I don't consider that, hey, I've arrived. I still want to learn and grow. And so I'm committed to that. I'm committed to making a positive difference for clients. So I really care for that. And so that's how I deliver a 5-star experience.
How do you convert your clients into brand ambassadors?
Then the thing is that then it will ensue if people have a positive experience. If, for example, in seminars that we have, really we receive wonderful feedback. These seminars really, for example, have made a big difference for people. For example, if I can just take one example, we talk about unity in diversity. This may sound like a theoretical concept, but when people have gone through an experience of being with a number of people who are quite different from them, and out of that group of very different people, coming at the end of a program as a united group, having learned from the difference, having lived the notion of unity in diversity, they become de facto ambassadors because, or thanks to the experience they have had. So I'm not pushing people to become brand ambassadors. I think when people have had this type of an experience, either in a seminar or when coaching has made a difference for them in their, not just in their work, but in their life in general, that's how I think they become ambassadors.
How do you handle rejections?
Rejections by whom? By potential clients, or what do you mean?
Potential clients, yeah.
Well, I recognize that I cannot be all things to all people. As much as I would like to please everyone and to be the best possible fit for everyone, I understand that cannot be possibly the case. So I need to respect that all I can do is the very best. I'm doing my very best. But at the end of the day, what other people want to do or not do, or whether they want to work with me or not, is beyond me. So I basically accept what I cannot change. But if the rejection comes from something I didn't do correctly, for example, because I can still make mistakes, of course, then I try to learn from that mistake to be better next time.
How do you handle an angry client?
I have to say that really doesn't happen, or really I can seldom remember that happening. But if this were to happen, I would try to just listen to my clients, understand what are you angry about, what is the issue, and in good faith trying to understand what the problem is and to try to come up with a solution in a spirit of fairness. So that's how I would try to handle this situation.
We are about to move into lightning round. That means quick question and quick answer. Are you ready?
Yes, let me take a sip of water and then I'm ready.
What are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful to be alive and I'm grateful to be in good health. And many more things I have to say.
How do you start your day?
I had a nice breakfast. I read the papers and I was grateful for that moment.
How young are you?
I'm 61 and I like the way you ask the question because I do feel young. Certainly.
Philip, you are not 61, you are 18 years old. Rest is all experience,
Sorry, I missed what you said.
You are 18 years old. Rest is all experience.
Oh, there you go. Yes, yes.
What you want to do when you grow up?
Oh, that's going to be a long time from now. But yes, because I'm only 61. I want to continue to learn. I want to continue to grow. And I want to continue to make a positive difference.
What is your plan to achieve your goal?
Every day, ask myself, what can I learn today? What are the new avenues I haven't explored, which I could explore? That's one way.
How will you feel in case you don't achieve your goal?
You know, the thing is, my goal is expressed in such a broad and emergent fashion that this is not going to happen, I don't think, because of the way I've set out the goal. I'm open to see what's going to happen as opposed to limiting myself too quickly.
How do you overcome a challenge life throws at you?
What I've learned along the way is to accept what I cannot change and focus on what I can change.
What is the advice you will give to, to younger yourself?
To keep faith. I wouldn't say do the best you can. I would say you are doing the best you can already. Keep faith.
Once you have a revenue-generating idea, how do you convince your significant other?
If it's a good idea, I don't even need to convince her.
Who is your living mentor and what's the impact?
I don't have one mentor. I have many mentors. My daughter, 20 years old, is one of my mentors. And the impact is, I believe I can really learn from so many different people. And the impact is that I find it so exciting that there is still so much to be learned from so many people, not just one mentor.
Why being impactful is important to you?
Because the impact I want to have is one about making a positive difference in the world, promoting sustainable progress, promoting unity in diversity, promoting human flourishing. And if you look at society today, those ambitions are so important. We need all this.
What do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for these two books you see here, Coaching Across Cultures and Global Coaching. Not just the books, but all the work around that, which is really about helping to unfold our multifaceted human potential and helping thereby making a positive difference.
How can we support you?
You are supporting me already today, Siddique, through your curiosity, through your interest, through your question, and by helping to promote those ideas, which hopefully can inspire some people and help them on their journey towards human flourishing in the respect of other people, in the respect of our planet.
We are about to wrap up. I'd like to have a few words about your today's guest experience on the show. Here's my question. What would you say about your today's guest experience on the show?
Well, it's a pleasant experience. I really appreciate you are a kind host, a kind, benevolent host, Siddique. So I appreciate your interest. I appreciate your kindness, and it has been a pleasure to speak with you. Mainly, I have to say, to answer your questions.
What would you say as a final word?
If I may quote Hillel, 2000 years ago, said something profound. If I'm not for myself, who will be for me? But if I'm only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when?
Thank you so much, Philip, for sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team. We really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.